For the last several months, I've been really intensely immersing myself in the works of Schelling, the philosopher Friedrich Wilhelm Joseph Schelling, who was born in 1775, died in 1854, and his thought is what you could call dialogical, um, and I would differentiate to distinguish um, dialogue from dialectic. Um, in one sense, dialogue is an oral form um, of presentation and of knowledge making, um, or knowing. Schelling's philosophy, being dialogical, um, is in that sense done in conversation with other living personalities, other people. Now, a dialectical way of knowing or philosophy, which you could say that it would be more like Hegel's system, this would, be more like a written disputation where um, the ideas themselves, according to their own immanent necessity of negation, of the negation of negation, would come to some, be able to arrive at some presuppositionless final cause or end that would in fact be the absolute, um, the absolute idea, which is also the absolute being, or at least that's what Hegel's dialectical philosophy um, would presume to tell us. Schelling and Hegel have an intense but fraught relationship, or their friendship was tumultuous, and they went to seminary together as teenagers. They created a journal with one another at the turn of the 19th century on critical philosophy and the philosophy of nature. Um, were intensely relating and reading one another's published texts, and probably no one knew Schelling's texts better and Schelling's development until around 1805 um, than Hegel. And no one knew Hegel and his development even to his death in 1831 better than Schelling. Um, so they were intimate friends and collaborators before, in 1807, falling out as a result of a statement that Hegel made, um, which on the face of it seemed to be a dismissal of Schelling's, a crucial component of Schelling's earlier philosophy, the intellectual intuition, as the night in which all cows are black and all differentiations are lost in some immediate grasp of the whole as a sort of abstract whole. Now, Hegel, in the package that he sent to Schelling, one of the first copies of the Phenomenology of Spirit, uh, Hegel wrote in a letter that this joke, this dismissal, was not aimed at his philosophy, but at some of the lesser or dimmer lights among his followers. Uh, Schelling said that, he was able to see that Hegel couldn't be referring to Schelling's own philosophy himself just by reading the preface to the Phenomenology, but asked that Hegel in the next edition clarify this so that people wouldn't think that there was some sharp chasm separating the Schellingian from the Hegelian philosophy. Hegel never added this clarification to the next edition, and after 1807, in this letter that the two exchanged, series of letters, after this they never spoke again. Now, there's evidence in Hegel's and Schelling's letters of a meeting that they had much later, in 1828, I believe, or in the 1820s at least. And they were both, they just so happened to be taking the cure, as it was said, bathing in the natural springs in the same uh, town, and happened upon one another. And Hegel wrote to his wife that the two got along like friends of old, uh, rather swimmingly. And Schelling wrote in a letter that he was shocked that Hegel carried on as if nothing had ever happened between them, regarding this joke about um, cows in the night that really tanked Schelling's career at that point. But nonetheless, Schelling said that they it was as if they were the best of friends and nothing had ever happened. So the polemic in Schelling's eyes was laid to rest. Except that of course Schelling would go on to um, distinguish himself from Hegel later on, precisely because of um, Hegel's insistence that his negative philosophy was in fact the whole, or able to produce the whole, um, because Schelling believed that there was another pole to the philosophical endeavor. That was the positive philosophy, which is a more um, dialogical rather than dialectical form of philosophy that begins with the fact that there is, rather than with what we can say there is, or what we can think there is. From Schelling's point of view, thought, or the concept, cannot deduce the actual physical world of nature. There's no way to get from um, the science of logic to the existence of nature uh, if the science of logic claims to have um, seen through to the root of all things in